Castle Rock, Colorado. Is it the ultimate place to move to in 2025? According to the numbers, the answer is yes. But is it right for you? Today we're going to break down a report that ranks Castle Rock as the #1 destination to move to in the state of Colorado and one of the top in the entire US. Is Castle Rock actually legitimate? What's it like? What are the pros and cons? What's housing like? What is the reason it got ranked high in the first place? We're going to cover all of that today, so let's get into it. Hey, my name is Michael Caraway. I'm a realtor here in the Denver area, and my family and I actually call Castle Rock home. We actually grew up in Iowa, moved out here after college, lived here for several years, moved away to Dallas, Texas, and recently made our way back. And of all the places that we could have chose to move back to, we actually ended up settling in on Castle Rock. It's been an amazing journey so far, and I'm actually going to give you a few reasons why we love it so much toward the end. First, let's actually talk about this report. Now, according to this report, Castle Rock isn't just a popular place to move to. It's actually the hottest market to move to in the entire state of Colorado, and the number 25 place to move to in the entire United States. That's a huge deal. But what's actually behind this trend? Let's jump into it. This ranking actually comes straight from a February 2025 report by Move Buddha, which tracks where people actually plan to move. They analyzed 2024 search data to see which places are getting the most interest, and Castle Rock was definitely a standout. But here's the key stat. Castle Rock has a 1.32 move in to move out ratio, which means for every 100 people that leave Castle Rock, 132 people actually move in. So that makes sense why population growth is continued to expected to grow in Castle Rock. And just for context, the state average is about 1.09. That's what this report says. That's what the entire report was based on, to be honest. But there's a lot more things, being a local to Castle Rock that you probably need to know if you're actually considering moving here to Castle Rock, Colorado. So let's actually get into more of that detail now. So let's talk home values. Castle Rock ranks 7th highest among the 50 most in-demand suburbs. The average home value is right around $671,000. Compare that to the national average of $355,000, the top 25 suburbs average, which is about $472,000. So yeah, Castle Rock isn't cheap, but is it actually worth it? Obviously, people are moving here, people see the value in paying more for the real estate based on the town here. But it's not just about popularity. Castle Rock ranks high in other aspects too. Castle Rock was voted the number 15 best small city, the number 10 for quality of life, number 37 for safest city, and number 47 for the safest suburb. It's actually also in the top 100 best places to live in the entire United States. And Castle Rock is actually home to about 80,000 people, which we're going to talk a little bit more about later. So you're probably thinking, okay, great, the stats are saying that Castle Rock is good. Awesome. But what does that actually mean? What does it actually look like to live here? I'm going to tell you all the things I love about living in Castle Rock in just a second. But first, what's the catch? Like what is wrong with Castle Rock? What are some of the challenges that Castle Rock has and maybe why people may not want to actually live here? The first is definitely that it's not super close to Denver. If you're looking to commute to Denver every day, the Castle Rock's not going to be the most convenient location for you. It's about 30 miles south of downtown Denver, which not a lot of people love. It is more on the small town side, so if you're not into more of that small town feel, Castle Rock may not be the best fit for you. However, if you are into the small town feel and that's what attracts you to Castle Rock, there's also the risk that it's going to get a lot bigger and you're going to lose that small town feel over the next few years just because there is so much attraction to this city. Castle Rock's location to I-70, which is the main artery into the mountains to get to the most popular ski resorts, is definitely not a convenient commute away either. You're easily spending 2.5 to 4.5 hours in the car to get to those most popular ski resorts and those popular places to go hiking and do all of your outdoor recreation here. Now there are things that are closer to Castle Rock that we found that we love that don't require us to get on 70, but that more popular corridor that people use to get into the mountains in Denver is 70, and it's not super close to that. And we alluded to this earlier too. It is expensive. It's not the most cheap suburb. Even though it is a little bit further away, there are high home prices here compared to other places in the Denver metro area. So if you are on a budget, maybe this area is not the best for you. So I'm going to jump into why I think that Castle Rock is seeing such a huge growth and why it's such a popular area and why personally my family and I love Castle Rock. But first, if you are thinking about moving to Castle Rock or somewhere else in the Denver metro area and you want a guide to help figure out where that best spot for you is, then definitely reach out. I'd be honored to help you do that. So before I start talking about all of these, pros to living in Castle Rock, I think it's also, important to note that, this isn't just an isolated trend for Castle Rock. Like, suburbs are definitely having their day right now. They're definitely the more in-demand spots versus being in the city for many people for many different reasons. So Castle Rock's growth is not isolated just to Castle Rock. A lot of the other suburbs in Denver and in other metropolitan areas are seeing that growth too. So why do we love living in Castle Rock? Why do we ultimately choose to call this home of all the different suburbs that we could have called home? Well, honestly, the first one is that you get that small town feel without sacrifice to amenities. Now, I mentioned that we grew up in Iowa. Iowa's very rural, and you don't have that access to amenities that we love, like tons of great restaurant options or shopping options or entertainment options. You just don't get that, but you do get the small town feel. So when we moved to Denver, the first time around, we got all the amenities and we absolutely loved that, but we were in a very busy area. Then we ended up moving down to Dallas, Texas. And Dallas, Texas is a major city. It's super chaotic, but you have a ton of access to things. Honestly, we got burnt out from the big city feel, and we just wanted to get something that was a smaller town feel. So when we recognized that we wanted to move back to Colorado, that really narrowed down a lot of different options for us. And ultimately, Castle Rock ended up jumping to the top of our list. 80,000 people is not necessarily a super small town, but also compared to where we lived in Texas, we were in a suburb that had 250,000 people. So there's definitely way fewer people here. You still get that small town charm in Castle Rock. It hasn't lost out completely. You do get chains and stuff in Castle Rock, but there's also a good presence of more local businesses as well. So having not as much chaos around us and still having access to all of those things was a huge win for us. The other win was that it is close enough to Denver that we can get down to Denver for a date night or for business easily, but it's far enough away where we don't have to worry about the big city. So we absolutely love that we can get down for a Rockies game or Broncos game. We can go out for a nice dinner. We can take the family to go to a park down there. It's definitely within reach within that 45-minute drive or so, but we're not getting that congestion that a lot of other suburbs are getting being closer to Denver. My wife and I also really love new construction homes. We definitely prefer that versus buying in more established neighborhoods just because of the value that we see and the amenities that you get in some of these new construction neighborhoods. And Castle Rock has a ton of different options for new construction specifically, and the neighborhoods here, in my opinion, are second to none compared to a lot of the other suburbs in the Denver area. And that's for a lot of different reasons that we can go into at another point. But you do get great views in these neighborhoods. You have good builders, they're reasonable prices, and the amenities within these neighborhoods are really good. The other reason we loved Castle Rock is that you get stunning views in the city. Castle Rock is one of the few suburbs on the south side that truly feels like you're in the mountains. There's a ton of bluffs around you. There's a ton of open space around you. And honestly, a lot of these neighborhoods that you would end up buying in Castle Rock will have some sort of view, whether it be a bluff or a green belt, or just open space in general, or maybe just the Front Range Mountains off in the distance. You have views everywhere in Castle Rock. It's the opposite of flat, super hilly here, and we absolutely love that. Castle Rock also has the best downtown that we've seen here in the Denver area. It's still got that really small town feel, that kind of like small Main Street feel, but they've added in a lot of really more modern buildings. A lot of new modern businesses have came in, but you still get that mix of the older, more traditional businesses as well. It's a really cool combination of different types of things to do in Castle Rock. You also are seeing a super active schedule and calendar for downtown Castle Rock events. There's always something to do, so we just really loved having that epicenter in our community. And most importantly, the people. Like, the people of Castle Rock, in our experience, have been amazing. Super laid back, super easy to meet people, really friendly, and we've made friends way quicker here than anywhere else that we've lived, and we really appreciate that. So maybe Castle Rock is a great fit for you, or maybe it's not. If you want help trying to figure out what the best place to call home here in Denver is, then definitely reach out. Like I said, I'm a real estate agent. I'd be honored to help you make that move. Till next time, we'll see you later.